All right, welcome back, everyone. A truly massive update has just hit for Space Marine 2. And let me tell you, patch 11.0 is an absolute game changer. We are talking brand new content, huge class reworks, and some really deep technical changes that are going to shake up everything we thought we knew about the front line. So let's get geared up and break down exactly what this means for you.
So here's what we're going to cover in this breakdown. First, we'll crack open the drop pod of new content they're calling Operation Reclamation. Then we get to the really juicy stuff, the huge shift in class design that is going to completely redefine the meta. After that, we'll take a look at the weapons. We're talking buffs and one massive under-the-hood surprise. We'll also see how your feedback directly shaped this update. And finally, we'll peek over the horizon at what's coming next.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about all the new toys. The developers have dropped in a whole fresh wave of content, just to make sure the war against the endless hordes never, ever gets stale. And wow, they really packed this one. We've got a brand new PvE map, Reclamation, which takes place on a wrecked Imperial cruiser just crawling with Tyranids. There's new gear, Sanctified Wrath, and get this, over 40 new battlefield conditions to really spice up your missions, plus a whole bunch of new heroic weapons and armor pieces. And of course, for all you fashion Marines out there, we've got new Blood Angels and Salamanders cosmetics, and even Chaos customization for PvP. Seriously, there is a lot to get your hands on here. All right, now for what I think is the heart of this entire patch. This isn't just about new maps and gear. This is about a fundamental change to how the classes actually play. This is where the meta gets a serious shakeup. So let's start with the Vanguard, because this is a big one. The moving target perk has been completely flipped on its head. It used to be the simple defensive buff you'd get for being in melee. Now, it's done a total 180. It rewards you for getting long-range kills by giving you ability chargeback. That is a massive shift in how this class is meant to be played. And the devs have been super upfront about why they're doing this. They basically said the Vanguard had just turned into a walking heal bot for the squad, and that wasn't the goal. So this change is all about pushing players towards a more flexible hybrid style, mixing it up with some long-range shots before you charge into the fight.
But, the community has definitely raised some eyebrows. A player named Adam's Factory put it pretty well. That old perk was essential for staying alive on the front line. So the big question everyone's asking is, does this new change pull the Vanguard away from what they're supposed to be doing, which is, getting stuck in? It's a trade-off, and we'll have to see how it feels in the field.
The Assault class is also getting a huge rework to its Act of Attrition perk. Before, it was just a flat damage debuff on anything you hit. Now, it's all about momentum. You get a much bigger damage bonus, and for longer, but only when you're hitting enemies while sprinting or dashing. This is clearly meant to reward a super aggressive, always-on-the-move playstyle. And to help with that, they've given the Assault class a brand new tool, Jump Pack Dash Attacks. Apparently, these are way faster and more responsive than just a regular sprint attack. This is going to be a whole new way to close the distance and open up a fight with incredible speed. I have a feeling this is going to feel so much better to use in the chaos of battle. Okay, so we've covered classes. Now let's talk about the weapons. Patch 11.0 brings a whole slew of buffs, which is great, but it's also hiding this massive technical change that, honestly, could have some crazy consequences for basically every build in the entire game.
I mean, the numbers here really speak for themselves. We're just seeing some nice, solid firepower increases pretty much across the board. The heavy bolt rifle, bolt pistol, Volkite Pistol, all getting a decent bump. But check out that heroic Kami Melta, a 15% damage increase. That is hefty. Your tools for purging are getting a whole lot sharper.
Okay, now for the wild card. The developers have completely removed the netcode damage cap. So what on earth does that mean? Well, to put it simply, there was basically a secret speed limit on how much burst damage the game could handle at one time. And now, that speed limit is just gone. The governor has been taken off the engine. Your damage is no longer being held back by the code.
And the best part is, the developers know exactly what they've just done. This quote from them is just priceless. They're basically saying, yep, we know this is going to get crazy. We've opened a can of worms, so have fun. They've totally uncapped our damage potential, and now they're just sitting back to see what kind of insane, game-breaking builds we can come up with. It is officially theory crafting season.
Now, this is really important. This patch didn't just appear out of nowhere. It went through the public test server, and the community's feedback was absolutely crucial in shaping what we're playing today. Let's actually look at how you guys made a real difference. So you might be wondering, how much did that public test server really change things? Was it just for show or were the devs actually paying attention? Well, let's look at the receipts.
Oh yeah, they were listening. You can see the impact right here. That new Sanctified Wrath equipment, it went from 1 charge to 2 based on feedback. The Vanguard's Retribution perk got buffed from 20% to 25%. And here's the kicker. Those new Assault Jump Dash attacks, their damage was cranked at by a massive 50% from what it was on the test server. This is direct proof that your feedback matters.
And it wasn't just about balancing numbers. The PTS was so important for squashing some really nasty bugs. Players found a game-breaking bug with the heroic Power Gladius. They noticed headshots weren't working on Chaos Spawn. They helped the devs add a proper weak point to the Vortex Beast. And they flagged a ton of issues with Power Swords and Thunderhammers. This whole process is just vital for the game's health. And you know what? The community absolutely noticed. This comment from player Exostar468 pretty much sums up how everyone felt. It's simple, to the point, and that "let's go" captures the excitement perfectly. It really validated the whole testing process for everyone involved.
So, with patch 11.0 officially out in the wild, the big question is, what's next? Well, thankfully, the developers have already given us a little glimpse into their plans, and it sounds like this big wave of changes is really just the beginning.
And here it is, straight from the horse's mouth. They're telling us that more class reworks are absolutely on the way for both the Tactical and the Vanguard. But, and this is the big news, before we get to those, it looks like patch 12 is going to be all about the Tech Marine. So we have a pretty clear roadmap of what to get excited for next.
So there you have it. That's our deep dive into the absolutely massive patch 11.0. The battlefield has basically been reset. The rules of the game have been changed. With that damage cap gone and core classes being totally reimagined, the potential for new ridiculously powerful builds is, well, it's pretty much limitless. So I'll leave you with this question. What new meta will you forge in the fires of war? Thanks for tuning in.